You're an Arsenal fan, okay? The Gunners haven't won the Premier League in over a decade and a half. Suddenly, the season starts, and the likes of Gabriel Jesus, William Saliba, Martin Odegaard, and co are performing at heights you've never imagined possible. The young squad with the likes of your Bukayo Sakas, Gabriel Martinellis, and such like seem to have hit their ceiling already, and they are challenging the mighty Manchester City. All you gotta do to keep pressure on for the game against Man City in the league, a title decider, is beat an out-of-form Liverpool, West Ham down in the relegation battle, and a bottom of the league Southampton.
It's not looking good, Bev.
With the Gunners potentially faltering under pressure, have Arsenal already bottled the league? Now, it's worth remembering that if they do beat Manchester City, the league is once again in their hands. The maximum that Arsenal would be able to claim in terms of points would be one above Manchester City if they are victorious on Wednesday. But the fact of the matter is, beating Manchester City is so hard to do, especially in a game where Man City are so fired up. But as a man with plenty of experience of, league title battles against Man City, I was not involved. I was hardly playing up front in these games. But it's a tough task, and you want to give yourself at least the best possible chance. Maybe the ability to lose to Manchester City and still be points clear. And Arsenal will look back on this 3-game period with so much regret if they don't win the league. Whilst going to Anfield at any point in time is difficult, it's a cliche, and if we're going to be totally real, by the time the game ended, they were lucky to get a draw. You could argue similarly against West Ham in the latter stages, but once again, we're 2 goals clear in both of those games. And then realistically, you go to Southampton, a side bottom of the table and back in pretty shocking form. Without a win in 6, you've got to go to bottom of the league. Not even go. It's on your doorstep. Aaron Ramsdale got the Piccadilly line there, and yet just 30 seconds or so in, he's given the ball away for an opening goal. Usually so good and so intelligent with the ball at his feet, just playing a hospital pass, one that was never really on, giving away a goal so early. It strikes a dagger through the heart of the rest of the Arsenal squad so early into a game. Then you go 2-0 down thanks to Theo Walcott, a former player. His celebration cut a little bit deep in my eyes. Honestly, I haven't seen this bad of a betrayal against Jesus since the New Testament. And look, Robbie from Arsenal Fan TV is not going to be pleased at this development.
You are a Judas!
Until he realises the views are coming back in. Because I'm not going to lie, ladies and gentlemen, this is the first time I've thought to go and watch AFTV all year. We could be about to re-enter a golden era of this YouTube channel. Ty is ready and waiting, prepped to come on for the second half. DT was fuming to be involved in a beating again, though thankfully for all involved, he wasn't the aggressor this time. Meanwhile, tensions were high when Ramsdale conceded that second goal.
He's done it again!
Let's just rewind actually to that Aaron Ramsdale mistake, by the way. Like, to what, 35 seconds in? This guy was up late watching David De Gea against Sevilla. It's the only explanation. David De Gea himself was watching on the TV and saw some very familiar on-the-ball ability.
Is that me? That's me? Yeah.
And Rob was finally living up to his surname. Now, this second goal going in from Theo Walcott, it provided a very weird moment for me. And that was Alexander Zinchenko calling his entire Arsenal squad together for a huddle on the halfway line before they kicked off. Now, whilst I understand the sentiment and the idea behind that, just getting everyone to concentrate, you're 2-0 down, bottom of the league, really does show signs of weakness. Because let's be honest, 4 games into the season at the start of September, you're not calling a huddle because you've gone 2-0 down 30 minutes in. Thankfully, someone was able to provide a secret microphone for Zinchenko's all-important talk. Yeah, I'll be honest with you, lads. We fucked it. And the worst part of all of this, after getting themselves back in the game, it was Alexander Zinchenko, the man that called that huddle, who lost his man for the 3rd Southampton goal.
You fucking little bastard!
At least Bukayo Saka was there to try and make the Ukrainian feel better.
Would you like a sweetie?
But ultimately, it's clever from Arsenal. You can't bottle a 2-0 lead if you already go 2-0 down. And Southampton fans were really taking the piss, doing the Poznan or the Manchester City in the crowd, mimicking Man City fans because you're beating Arsenal. A, that's some serious dick riding because you lot are going down anyway. But B, I don't even care if it's not FTW. It's a shithousery award. You know what, lads? I'm really glad that Arsenal intentionally went out of the Europa League to focus on bottling the Premier Premier League. Because there's been some poor performers in recent weeks. Like, don't get it twisted. Bukayo Saka, kind of poor against West Ham, missed an all-important penalty. Was a little bit anonymous against Southampton as well. But the kid's been unbelievable all season. You kind of allow it. Thomas Partey's turned into Emmanuel Frimpong this month. All I'm saying is, since Jorginho's come into the club, they've gone from multiple points clear to being behind Man City if they lose midweek. He must have smuggled Chelsea's defensive coach into the Gunners training ground before he arrived. There was incredulous amounts of time wasting going on from Saints goalkeeper Gavin Bazunu. Of course, ex of Manchester City, a man who's come through their youth academy over at the Etihad. This man could have still been taking a goal kick today and he wouldn't have got a yellow card from the referee. To Gabriel Jesus' dismay, who was counting the seconds that it took for the Irishman to take every kick. But Gavin was unable to time waste quite enough, because in the 88th minute, an Arsenal's captain Fantastic picked up the ball on the edge of the area and curled a beautiful strike in. And a man who I just said had been anonymous for the first 90 minutes came up with the goods as Bukayo Saka swept in a messy goal. 2 goals in 2 minutes, and with another additional 8 of injury time, Arsenal looked like they were going to go from a 3-1 defeat to the most almighty of comeback victories. Arsenal turned into a completely different beast once they got past the 90th. This is the referee that Southampton actually needed for the game. But after putting up a mighty defence for 8 full minutes, Thomas Partey stepped up from the outside of the area to strike one home from distance. I can't believe this man tried that. Who does he think he is? You need a goal to potentially reignite your entire title bid, and with -1 seconds left on the clock, you decide to slap it from 35 yards. That ball hasn't even landed yet, and it's been about 3 days.
I said if we don't win the game today, the league's gone, blood.
And so, with a final chance spurned, it would end a draw, a thrilling 3-3 game. I mean, one of the games of the season, honestly. I can't lie, this year, from August to now, has genuinely provided some unbelievable moments. How the heck was the Antonio Conte and Thomas Tuchel handshake this season? The amount of shit that has happened in this footballing year, from the start of the season to the World Cup, to recent times, even outside of the Premier League, the Bundesliga title race, Napoli going mental, unbelievable games in the Champions League, Wrexham v Notts County in the 5th tier of English football, but not really helpful for either team. Southampton are still a little bit cut adrift down at the bottom of the table, and of course Arsenal now find themselves in a situation where if they don't beat Man City, the league is out of their hands. They need City to slip up, and City don't slip up in situations like this. Erling Haaland tweeted at a suspiciously convenient time after Arsenal's dropped points here, and I wouldn't have that if I was Gunners fans, except you are gonna have that. You're gonna hold that, because unfortunately it doesn't look like William Saliba's gonna recover from his injury in time to face either Man City or Chelsea.
There goes that dream.
And I'm telling you now, Rob Holding is not a terrible centre-back, right? But he's not a league-winning centre-back. You know, if you slapped him in Man City, right, he's going to make mistakes that would potentially cost Man City a league. But I'm telling you now, if he faces off against Erling Haaland on Wednesday, he's going to need another hair transplant. If I'm Arsenal, I'm getting William Saliba, 2 ibuprofen and a can of Monster Energy, because he's got to start that game somehow. Imagine with this injury crisis going on, Erling Haaland sees Gunnosaurus line up against him at centre-back. Because the fact of the matter is, defensively, whether it's a coincidence or not, since William Saliba's been out injured, Arsenal just aren't the same. I think, honestly, if Tomiyasu isn't injured, you maybe even move Ben White into centre-back, but the amount of defensive injuries that Arsenal have at the moment, it's really hindering them, and I'm not gonna lie, I do feel bad for them. I think when we look back at this season, if Arsenal have fully bottled the league, you could argue that a decent chunk of it is the amount of injuries that they've had, and the squad depth just isn't there. I'm really not sure I can see an Arsenal squad without William Saliba in defence, because I think they've been the 8th best defense since he's been out injured, or for like the last 2 months, and you're not gonna win the league with a defensive record like that at really any point in the season. I think Arsenal are genuinely very, very close to being able to challenge for a title. I mean, obviously they've shown it. They could end up missing out on the title by 1 point. The likes of Bukayo Saka, Gabriel Martinelli, Martin Odegaard, even back into defense with Gabriel, Saliba, people like Ben White, Aaron Ramsdale, none of them have really hit their ceilings yet. This is such a young squad. I think improvements chance at striker. I genuinely really like Gabriel Jesus and what he offers in terms of link-up play and bringing others into the game. He should have scored in injury time against Southampton. Sometimes I just feel like that true goal-scoring instinct isn't quite there with him. And then just in terms of depth, especially defensively, if you're relying on Rob Holding at the end of the season, you're not going to win the league, as I said. No offense to Rob if you're watching. Your hair is amazing. What shampoo do you use? The good thing is, it is still their own destiny. If they do beat Manchester City, it's back in their hands. But let me know what you think is going to happen midweek down in the comments section below. Have Arsenal truly bottled the league, or are they still going to win the Barclays? If you enjoyed this video though, and you're liking this sort of content at the moment on the channel, then feel free to like and subscribe if you're new. You can also follow me on social media. It is at @theofficialfng on Twitter and on Insta. But it's been a pleasure ranting at you guys today. Have a wonderful day, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye.